So this photograph was taken by a man who was a non-believer. And the story was that Our Lady in one of the apparitions, the 6 apparitions that took place, the one in July, Lucia had asked for a miracle so that the people would believe. And Our Lady said that she would perform a miracle for all to see and believe in October. So this was July 13th. She said in October there would be a miracle for everyone to see and to believe. And then during her apparitions on August 19th and September 13th, she also reiterated thinking about that miracle that would be coming in October, where 70,000 people showed up, including those who were reporters for newspapers, including Osecolo, which was an anti-clerical, anti-Catholic daily from Lisbon. And so the reporter who was there recounted what he witnessed. He did not expect to see anything. He had come there really as a hostile witness. Here's what he wrote. You can find all of these in several eyewitness accounts of this event on Catechism's website. If you go to the home page on the banner, we have a special Fatima section to that website, and you can find these eyewitness accounts on that website. So here's what the man's name is Avelino de Almeida. Avelino de Almeida, something like that. So here's what he wrote of what he experienced, not expecting anything to happen. He said from the road where the vehicles were parked and where hundreds of people who had not dared to brave the mud were congregated. It had been raining so much, it was just a quagmire of mud. So these vehicles were parked on the road, and people were standing there, they didn't want to go down into the mud, many of them. One could see the immense multitude turn toward the sun, which appeared free from the clouds and in its zenith. So it had been raining all day. There are pictures with the people with their umbrellas, and all of a sudden the clouds break forth. It's right at the solar noon time of the day. The sun's at the zenith, its highest point. The clouds break apart. Suddenly, he sees the sun. He says it looks like a plaque of dull silver. And it was possible to look at it without the least discomfort. It might have been an eclipse which was taking place, but at that moment a great shout went up, and one could hear the spectators nearest at hand shouting, "A miracle! A miracle!" Before the astonished eyes of the crowd, whose aspect was biblical, this was almost like things we find in Old Testament biblical accounts, as they stood bareheaded, eagerly searching the sky, the sun trembled, made sudden, incredible movements outside all cosmic laws. The sun danced according to the typical expression of the people. Standing at the step of an omnibus was an old man, his face turned toward the sun. He recited a creed in a loud voice. I asked who he was, and he told me that he was Senor Vasconcelos. I saw him afterwards going up to those around him who still had their hats on and vehemently imploring them to uncover before such an extraordinary demonstration of the existence of God. Well, Avelino received persecution for writing this article, but nonetheless he persisted. He would not go back on what he had said. And 2 weeks later, he confirmed again what he had seen, and he included photographs, including this one, that he took of that event. Just a couple of other eyewitness accounts that, again, you can find on our website. These are all from people who were there. Dr. Elmida Garrett, PhD from Coimbra University. She wrote, "The sun turned everything to colors, yellow, blue, white. Then it shook and trembled. It looked like a wheel of fire that was going to fall on the people. They began to cry out, "We shall all be killed." Others called to Our Lady to save them. They recited acts of contrition. One woman began to confess her sins aloud, advertising that she had done this and that. When at last the sun stopped leaping and moving, we all breathed our relief. We were still alive, and the miracle which the children had foretold had been seen by everyone. 7,000 people. This is from Dr. Domingos Coelho. The sun at one moment surrounded with scarlet flame, and another aureoled in yellow and deep purple seemed to be in an exceedingly fast and whirling movement, at times appearing to be loosened from the sky and to be approaching the earth, strongly radiating heat. This is from a priest who was 9 years old when the apparition took place. He said he was only 9 years old and he was at school, at the local village school, and it was midday. And people were outside, they were shouting, they were weeping, and so the teacher and the children went out to see what was going on. He said, "I feel incapable of describing what I saw and felt. I looked fixedly at the sun, which seemed pale and did not hurt the eyes. Near us was an unbeliever who had spent the morning mocking the simpletons who had gone off to Fatima just to see an ordinary girl. He now seemed to be paralyzed, his eyes fixed on the sun. Afterwards, he trembled from head to foot, and lifting up his arms, fell on his knees in the mud, crying out to Our Lady. Meanwhile, the people continued to cry out and to weep, asking God to pardon their sins. We all ran to the 2 chapels in the village, which were soon filled to overflowing. During those long moments of solar prodigy, objects around us turned all colors of the rainbow. We saw ourselves blue, yellow, red. All these strange phenomena increased the fears of the people. After about 10 minutes, the sun, now dull and pallid, returned to its place. When the people realized that the danger was over, there was an explosion of joy, and everyone joined in thanksgiving and praise to Our Lady. On last night's interview, I had Father Pereira, one of the 10 chaplains there at Fatima. They have confessions there 12 hours a day. He said from 7:30 to 7:30. He said many times there'll be people that come there as tourists to see this tourist site, and suddenly they become pilgrims. And they will come in a confessional after decades away, not even sure how to go into confession. I said, well, that's really what Our Lady wanted, wasn't it? That people would stop offending God. They would return to God. That continues. It's like Fatima happened 100 years ago, and yet Our Lady continues to call people back to God, to stop offending God who's already too much offended, and to live a life of faith in God, living in accordance with the commandments. One of my favorite books about Fatima is just a little booklet, and we have it now in religious catalog, I understand. And it was written just a few years before Lucia died. She died in the year 2005 at the age of 97. And it was on the 13th, February 13th. But she was asked by the provincial of the Carmelites, she was a Carmelite sister, under obedience, and that's how she wrote it, under obedience, to give her own thoughts after all of these decades after the apparitions, her own thoughts about the significance of the message that the 2 younger children, Jacinta and Francisco, that they died shortly after the apparitions, but Lucia was left as a messenger. And really that's what the shrine remains there, as a message. As we approach the 100th anniversary, it's also something where it recalls to us this fundamental message of Our Lady of Fatima. Pope John Paul II, now St. John Paul, visited there 3 times. Of course, the first time in Thanksgiving for his survival from that assassination attempt, which took place on May 13th, and that he returned in 1982 on May 13th as well. He also beatified Jacinta and Francisco on May 13th in the year 2000, the Jubilee year. But in this booklet, Lucia says this of what she sees of the significance of the messages. The message, she calls it the message of Fatima. Thus I see the message ever present in the immense being of God, to be sent to earth on the day and hour predestined by him in the designs and plans of his infinite mercy, in the form of yet another appeal for faith, hope, and love. So she's saying this comes from his infinite mercy. It's yet another appeal for faith, hope, and love, calling us back to him yet again. And she continued, it was the power of this love that once again drew God's gaze toward us in order to attract us and raise us up to him. You see, that is the whole reason for it. It's not that Fatima brought anything new. In fact, when I spoke to the rector in the interview that I did with him, Father Gavasinas, he said it really is a summary of our Catholic faith, of what we believe, of the necessity of turning away from sin, of the necessity of praying, and especially praying the Rosary. Our Lady revealed herself as Our Lady of the Rosary. It's very Trinitarian. I was happy that we began with that Trinity hymn at the beginning of Mass, because Lucia in this booklet, she says, I thought about why the 13th? Why was it always on the 13th? And then she said, I had this insight, perhaps this is the reason. 1, 3. 1, 3. One God, three persons. And